All right, what's up, T? What's
What's
going
up,
on,
man?
man? Hey, back again, movies with the homies, number 11. And yeah, I want to thank everybody for checking this out again. Yeah, we got six little topics here that we're going to discuss today. And the first one we're going to start off with, T. This one's been in the news all week long. It's talking about these guys right here, the Big N, Netflix. And yeah, what's going on over there? So we're going to jump right into this article. This is on collider.com. Ouch, Netflix loses over 50 billion after announcing subscription losses and price increases. Time will tell how the streamer will recover from this. So, T, we've talked about Netflix in the past on this show, and we've said, hey, Netflix has a interesting business model, of course, but it looks like now things are kind of coming to bear. They're saying, yeah, we're getting some password sharing, so that's cutting into our viewership. But I think there's bigger problems that Netflix has. I want to hear your thoughts just right off the gate. What do you think's going on over there at the Big End?
I think that some of this woke stuff and all this SJW stuff that they've been pushing is finally caught up to them, and now you've been able to fudge the numbers for so long because the demand was there because you had viewership, quote unquote. And remember, they don't share their numbers really. The true numbers is just an idea they throw out, sort of like. I believe Cisco does that, and some other companies do that. They don't have to tell all their numbers, like as far as demographics, what they hire, and all that stuff, because they're just like they get a pass.
Right.
This is one of those things. This is one of those fluff and puff things, and I just feel like they dropped the ball on really being transparent. And as an investor, which I'm not, but as an investor, you think, man, I hope the numbers, everything looks good. Everything's running as usual, right? Until you let everybody know, hey, man, the
Hmm.
people that make great French fries don't have French fry oil. Well, what have
Yeah.
you been doing? I've been baking the fries the whole time. What? You know, uh, I don't know. Yeah, I think you said $50 billion. In dollars is that's a lot, man,
That's
to
a
lose.
huge chunk of change, man, for Netflix, which is, like we talked about them. They're kind of like one of the big foreign streaming services right alongside Amazon, Disney Plus, and HBO Max. And right now, I think one of the biggest issues is that, when you look at Netflix, like, who do they have that they can say, like, this is our legacy franchise that we could kind of build upon? You got HBO Max, they got Disney, or excuse me, they got DC. They have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, so they kind of got that. Plus, they got their own stuff like Game of Thrones that they've come up with. You look at Disney Plus, obviously with Star Wars and Marvel, and then even Amazon. They're about to add Lord of the Rings. They've been doing pretty good work with like the indie comic, kind of franchises, like these legacy franchises that you can continue to build on. They got the Jack Ryan character itself, so you have like a lot going on with those. When you look at Netflix, it's like, okay, Netflix is good for like these one-offs, like Stranger Things. They'll, do something with that. I know they got the Umbrella Academy, but that's really never been a thing for me. I've never really been into that, but I know other people do like it. So I'm thinking like Netflix needs kind of like a legacy kind of franchise that's built up equity over the years with their fan base, and they need to land something like that. And they were doing good when they had Marvel, but what do you think? Does Netflix need something like that where the fans are like, okay, they're gonna be the home of my franchise, that I love, they're going to be the home of that, and now that'll kind of keep them going, so that when you watch some of their other material, it's like, okay, I can watch a little, if they throw off like a Stranger Things, if they have another Stranger Things or another type of show like that, that I'll still come back for that. But it's that like kind of landmark benchmark franchise that they need to build upon. What do you think?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think they do need a franchise. I think they need to push those hard. I think that they just are. I think that they just don't have. They just don't have the engine. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have the engine for the big car that they become. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They went from being a small Pinto. For those who don't know, that's a small car. I'll tell you. They went from being a small Pinto to this freaking excursion, and they don't make
Yeah.
excursions anymore. You
Yeah.
know, they're
Yeah.
extinct, right?
Yeah.
Because what
I used to own an
they
excursion, man. I just
man.
love that car, man. You could put everything in that thing, man.
Right, right.
It
You
was a
can put a
gas
house in that
guzzler.
car,
Heck yeah, it
right?
was a gas guzzler, but yeah, it was
Yeah,
a nice vehicle.
total
Yeah.
gas guzzler, right? Just like the Suburban, you know what I mean? Ooh,
Yeah.
man, ugh.
Whoo,
But
man.
this thing is just I don't think they have I agree, D. You're right, dude. They just don't have their model. They got too much without a standard print. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
got nothing that even though they have their big flicks version of it's really oh man, it's really hit or miss with that man. They got a lot
Yeah.
of hits, man. They got a lot of miss, you know.
Well,
Uh,
and they cancel a lot of the shows. Like a lot of their shows that take off and do well and fans like, they end up cutting them and canceling them. And I've never understood that. Like,
right.
some of the stuff that they do that they made, like, like the Cowboy Bebop anime kind of, reinvention of that show. And then a couple of other, anime shows that they've kind of had. Death Note, I think, was another one they did try to do a live action. Like, they never seem to land on those. They do well with like Squid Games, but they kind of missed the mark on some of these other ones. So it's like it's always hit and miss with the, Netflix, which is why I feel like a actual like legitimate franchise is needed. Now, another point that I wanted to bring up, and I want to hear what your thoughts are on this, T. What do you think about that binging model? Right, like, they drop everything at once and then you got to binge it out. You can binge it out over a weekend. You can watch each episode, whatever, it kind of gives you more flexibility. But what do you think about them, getting rid of that particular model and going more with what HBO Max does, Disney Plus, where it's like, hey, we're just releasing these week after week episodes. So it's like you got to come back. You can't just get rid of this after the weekend is done and you've, binge watched the entire thing. It's like, all right, that's it. I'm done with this. I'll check the next one. Now you actually have to hang in there every week. You got to come back, and that
don't
keeps them
like
for the
that. I
next
don't
eight
like that.
weeks.
I'm not a fan of that, D. And I think I've told you before, man. I don't like that because I feel like I'm paying for a service. I'm paying premium dollar for a service. I ought to be able to see it right then and there. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
think the buzz and waiting week to week is just not cool. The reason why they're Netflix is because they sell binge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's gonna come up with the brilliant idea to call themselves binge. You know what I mean? And um, because you have to you're dealing with you're dealing with a public that feeds off of this. If they like a product, they're addicted to it, man. They're
Yeah.
addicted to it. I know I am. If I like something, man, I'm gonna go back, dude. Hey, I bought Steve Madden shoes back in 2003. I'm a Steve Madden shopper for life. You know what I mean? I might
Okay.
not have every pair of Steve Madden, but I'll go back there because I know the brand and I'm like, okay, I trust it, right? Just like if I go to somewhere else, man, and make something, man. If they make dashikis the way I like, man, oh man, I like this quality I can trust. There's something to be said about Netflix because of how they've been able to maneuver, man. I remember getting them in a disc, man, a DVD, dude. I got Monster
Right.
Squad on a DVD
Yeah.
back in the
Back
day,
in the
right?
day, man, that's how you
And it
did
was
it.
great, right?
Yeah.
And they still have their DVD service too. You guys, it's rare, man, but they still do that too. But you just they have to man, it's so hard because they're not just a private business, they're not private equity, they're big,
They got
um
shareholders that they got to respond to.
right,
Yeah.
of course they got shareholders,
They
but
losing $50 billion. So if you are in the
right.
on the boardroom of Netflix, like, what are you talking about right now? Are you saying, hey man, we got to change up the way we do business? Are you gonna say we got to start dropping these shows every week because that's gonna at least keep people for 8 weeks? People ain't just gonna be able to binge it in one weekend and be out of there. They're gonna have to actually watch it for 8 weeks. And another thing, I'm gonna hear your thoughts on that, but I got another point to make on that. What do you think if you're in the boardroom? Are you talking to them about changing your business model?
You obviously have to. I think that they they need to I'm just
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
spitballing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh Focus on keeping the customer happy, give them the pickle.
Yeah.
Got to get when you start making these changes, you that $50 billion is nothing. That's nothing to
Mm.
them. Trust me. I don't know. People are just putting the number on things so everybody can panic and say, "Oh my gosh, something is about to change." No, I don't think anything will change ultimately because the board is going to say, "Wait a minute, this is going to just going to drive our base away." They got plenty of other options at different price points that they're going to go to anyway. You know, don't worry about it. They need to react to this. Excuse me. They need to respond to
Mm.
this. How the music industry responded to and responded to iTunes. Hey, you know what? It's going to be here. Once those rappers and everybody entertainers they relaxed and said, you know what, man, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? In fact, I want it to happen. Do what you're gonna do. The thing is, you have to not sweat it. Don't sweat the small stuff. Say, hey man, they're gonna come. You have to have a field of dreams mentality. If I build it, they're gonna come, dude.
Hmm.
If I build the arena, they're gonna be in it. I just got to wait for them to fill up because I know that I've got the best product on the market.
Do they though? If you don't
They
have a big
don't have the best.
franchise, if you don't have a big franchise, and if your fans or the people that do have you are dropping you like flies because, like you said very early in this talk, the woke stuff is just kind of turning them off. And you tried to reinvent anime, that didn't work. You got a lot of shows that you just drop, and fans like, hey man, we love this show, and you're dropping shows left and right. That's not working. Okay, like what are you bringing in to say, hey, we're still competing with Disney Plus? When Disney took that Marvel stuff off of Netflix, when Netflix lost that stuff and they brought it over to Disney Plus, that was a huge move. That was a huge move because now it's like, well, we don't have anything Marvel over here. If I want to watch these shows, I like Daredevil myself. So if I want to go watch Daredevil, I guess I got to get Disney Plus. If I want to watch seasons 1, 2, and 3 of that show, or if I want to go watch Luke Cage or anything like that, like they don't have a landmark franchise. And that's why I wanted to ask you, what do you think about this idea? Nintendo, they don't really have like a home for their like product, like in terms of, hey, we could throw all of our Nintendo produced television shows, cartoons, if we got movies coming up soon. What if we said, hey, you know what, they're about to launch a new theme park? What if Nintendo said, hey, Netflix, let's sit down, let's figure out something that we could do? There's a franchise right there that's hugely popular, and I think they're about to get started because there's a Mario Brothers movie dropping later this year. I think they're about to get started. Wouldn't that be interesting if Netflix and Nintendo came up to some sort of an agreement where you're going to house all of our new like movies, TV shows? We'll gather all of the old stuff, we'll throw it on Netflix, and then that'll be the home of Nintendo Entertainment. What do you think about that idea?
I,
Video games are still big. Video games are still big. Nintendo's
well,
still a
they're,
big
they're
property.
they're they're coming with their video game version, right? They're coming with their video game
And they're
version. So,
connecting. Yeah, Netflix is going to kind of have a connection with
right?
video games and stuff. So maybe that's the opportunity that you're looking for. Hey, let's go and talk to these guys and see, because video game movies, I think, are going to start taking off. I think they're going to start having a huge like impact on Hollywood. So I don't know. What do you think about that? You seem a little skeptical right now.
I'm just, I don't, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to do that Twitch model, man, and be like, okay, maybe like 'cause Twitch has momentum. I,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't. I think that, like I said, I started this whole segment off of. I think they fudged the numbers. I think they fudged the numbers, and now they've got to deal with the
And it's
consequences.
catching up
You
with
got
them.
to deal with
Okay.
the consequences. You had demand there. You live in a consumer addicted home entertainment environment now.
Yeah.
They don't want to leave their homes. Why do I need to watch this? Remember, we were talking about this before off camera.
Mm-hmm.
What man? What's the show that said, man, I can't wait to see the next one? The
Yeah.
last show I can recall to maybe do that was Peacemaker.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know of any other show to make you say, man, I want the edge of my seats, man. Man, I used
Right.
to do that with Family Ties, dude. I used to watch that with like, man, I can't wait to see what Alex is gonna do next, man.
Right.
Let me see what they're gonna do on Family. What's gonna do? What are they gonna do on Elf? I don't feel that with these shows, man.
I agree.
They're not that good.
I agree. I agree. All right, folks, what do you think about this Netflix situation? Is Netflix in trouble? Are they gonna, are they about to like fall completely out of the mix when it comes to the big four streamers? Go ahead, jump down in the comments. Let me know what you think about that. All right, T, we're gonna move on. We got another topic to talk about. This one, even more important. I think this is, to me, the number one topic that I have in my head right now, and that's involving Marvel and their Phase 4 offerings. So, me and you have talked off camera plenty of times about Marvel. We've talked on camera about Marvel and their Phase 4 and what's going on right now. And I think that Marvel, I don't know if I don't. I think they've lost it, man. I think they've lost it. Let's get to the article real quick. This is on. Sorry, I didn't go through it all. This is on Games Radar. I'm just kind of using this as a way to just kind of
Yeah.
talk about Marvel Phase 4. And here's what's upcoming, right? Or here's where they started with. So they started out with WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, What If, the Eternals, Hawkeye, Spider-Man, Moon Knight. So that's what we've gotten so far in Phase 4. And let me tell you, right now, Marvel Phase 4 is just, to me, it's a nothing burger. It is a huge nothing burger. This show has, I mean, this particular phase has not landed. It has not done the job of keeping me intrigued and entertained at all. And I likened it to, I think I was talking to you about this. I likened it to, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe really ended with Endgame. It kind of ended with Endgame. Endgame was it, right? And so now you get to this Phase 4, and it's kind of like, when you go to the club and the club is closing up, and everybody's like, "Hey, all right, the party's over, everything's done." You got the guys sweeping up, wiping tables and stuff, but you still got this little crew in the corner, kind of still trying to party. They still trying to get their groove on. It's like, yo, man, the club is closed. The club is closed. I mean, you guys got to get up out of here. And everybody's like, well, let's go take it to the after party.
The club is closed.
The club is closed, man. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is done. I mean, the club is closed. Unless they start bringing out something like, Fantastic Four, unless they start getting with Blade, unless they get the X-Men going, this thing is done. I mean, I am not interested in any of this stuff.
They're going to throw in the white towel?
They're not going to throw in the white towel. I'm saying that this thing is a wrap, man. The club is closed. The party is over. It was Endgame. They called it Endgame. It's a wrap. It's done. Okay? But they keep still trying to keep the party going with, Hawkeye and Moon Knight. Like, Moon Knight, Eternals, like, this stuff is the absolute epitome of a nothing burger. This is not entertaining. We're gonna get to Moon Knight in a minute, and we both feel the exact same way about Moon Knight. But just like going through this list, like, what did you really see that stood out? That was like, oh yeah, I couldn't wait to that. Maybe Spider-Man: No Way Home, but that's a Sony property. WandaVision had its moments, but it fizzled, down the stretch. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, dumb. Loki, again, same thing like WandaVision, just hit and miss. Like, one good episode, one bad episode. Black Widow was terrible. Shang-Chi was terrible. What If was just, The Eternals was terrible. All right.
Hold on.
All right. I'm here for your thoughts. I'm here for your thoughts, T.
Let me just tell you this. Do you remember Thor 2 Dark World?
I do.
Do you do?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really remember it. Do you remember Ant-Man 2? They were okay.
I remember these movies, man.
They were okay movies, right? Everybody felt like that when, oh man, they come with. I remember I was a dummy back in the day and thought, oh man, Guardians of the Galaxy, there it is. Oh, they couldn't keep up their momentum. Here's a failure, and they exceeded, right? They've had a few missteps, like I spoke about last week, with the Eternals, Black Widow, and Shang-Chi, right? They could have been great movies, dude.
Look at that list and tell me what worked for you, T. In Phase 4. That's the Phase 4 list right there. What do you see on this list that you can say, you know what, bravo, Marvel, maybe just one film. Everything else is just like, nope. Speechless. I got you speechless. That's what I'm saying.
But look, this phase will be forgettable.
This is forgettable, man.
They call it Phase 4. I think Phase 5 is gonna be Phase Jive, and Phase 6 is gonna be Phase Fix. It's just gonna happen, man. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? Look, they just. I told you last week what on a great movie, V for Vendetta. They need to remember why they need us. So you got to put the squeeze right now, man. That's all. It's just they have no competition, and they're so. I think that the part that you're not speaking about is the elephant in the room to say that they aren't they aren't in a position to lose. They're in a position to sell. And that's exactly what they do. Remember, Disney owns this thing. They've got cross products that they can, maneuver. Sell you this, I can sell you that, man. You wasn't in the mood for this, but I'll get you that. Right now we're in line. When you're in line at Ross or at DD
Mm-hmm.
at Burlington, there's those treats that are in front of you, right? That they're like, man, what do they got these things here for, man? Oh, you know what? I actually needed this cutter, or I needed these earbuds, man. That I don't know where they're from. Oh,
Oh,
I'm just
impulse buying. Impulse buying.
right, just an impulse buy. Right now, we're in the impulse buy part because we don't know what's in store. We don't know. So I think everybody just needs to calm down, dude.
T, you
Marvel's
being
going to
very
deliver, dude.
generous.
They're
I,
going
I'm
to.
surprised at you, man. You being so generous with this. I'm so surprised because
I'm not.
look,
I'm not.
Marvel.
I'm not phased, man. Because I expect them to do this. I expect them to do what they're doing, man. It's sales. It's sales. And it's marketing strategy, dude. They can give the fans what they want and then start from a clean slate. This thing is not going anywhere. See, they've cut into market share.
Mhm.
They've cut into market share of other genres. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about how these movies are actually movies. They're not just the comic book movies. They're movies. They've cut into no other movies are making money like this. These things are making money. Now, now, granted, Black Widow and like I said, Shang-Chi and Eternals, that was a huge. They're fudging the numbers on that. Just like we know they fudged the numbers on Captain Marvel. But look, this they're going to be okay. They're going to be
I mean,
fine.
you have a lot more confidence in them than I do. I think this thing right now, at least as Phase 4 is concerned, is a giant house of cards
Well,
because
what's your deal with like what's the real reason you don't have confidence?
because all we've seen so far is this is what this Marvel Cinematic Universe looks like when you get away from the Russo brothers. Okay, when the Russo brothers aren't making your film, this is what you get. When James Gunn ain't making your material, this is what you get. Okay, when you don't have Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson, well, she was in Black Widow, but nevertheless, when you don't have these things, this is what you get. I'm starting to think that Kevin Feige has built this thing on this house of shaky cards. Okay, you've had a couple of really good characters. You had Captain America and Iron Man, solid characters. Okay, that kind of carried you through your whole phase, all three phases. They carried you through. You had the Russo brothers come in making 4 great films, okay, and the 2 Captain America sequels, and then the 2 Avenger films. So they did their job, all right. And then all of the rest of the stuff, like you say, is more like, okay, you got a Thor: The Dark World. Like even Guardians 2 is just all right, but you've built it on these little shaky pegs, and then you have this fortress up here, right? But then once you start saying, okay, let's dig underneath this thing and let's see what else they got, then they start throwing out the Eternals. It's like, oh my goodness, man, what was that? Like they're starting to throw a whole lot of stuff at the wall. Nothing sticking. Everything is just sliding off the wall after they throw it up there. The only thing that really hung in was Spider-Man. That was it. That was it. And that's a Sony property. They don't even have the rights to that. So now you start looking at everything else, like this Moon Knight series, which we're about to get to. I don't know what they're doing with this, but this doesn't intrigue me at all. And so now I'm start.
But wait a minute.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
talking about the family entertainment company that, you like the family and the kids in the movies. You like all that. The
But this
kids
ain't.
in the movies.
There was nothing about kids in the movies with Moon Knight. Moon Knight is not a
You
kid's
like
film.
that stuff.
I
You
like that.
like
I like stuff like that's done well. Like I think that first Ant-Man, that was fine. Okay, I thought that was a really well done, kids, like kind of entry level kids film to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I like the Spider-Man first one. I'm not a huge fan of the second one. The third one had a lot of fan service, so that was fine. But again, like I can't even talk about Spider-Man. That's like a Sony thing. Like I'm talking about Marvel and what they're doing. And when I look at this, Groot was fine. Like I said, James Gunn did his thing. But when I'm looking at the rest of this, and I'm like, what did Falcon and the Winter Soldier give me? What did the Eternals give me? What did Hawkeye give me?
just feeling. You know what it is?
Filler, a whole
Right,
phase
it's the
of
page
filler.
in between the pages. It's the page. It's the page of the book that got ripped out because everybody said, "Man,
All right.
this doesn't really need to be." So I'm fine with that, D. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
You'll be surprised on my thoughts about Moon Knight when we discuss later. But look, I agree with you to a point. but this is just filler, dude. It's okay. I appreciate filler as opposed to what I'm not getting from the other guys. I'm not getting this from the other guys consistently.
You want the filler. You want enough DC stuff so that by the time we get to by the
Right.
time we get to this
And
level, it's like we're just getting all the filler, and you're here for that. I can appreciate
even if
that.
you want to, even if you want to say something,
Yeah.
you cannot say that their filler is not better than DC's. It's better. DC's only got 2 home runs with three, 2.5.
Depends on who you
Swamp
talk
Thing,
to.
Swamp Thing, Peacemaker, and I told you I really like Stargirl, man. That first season, man. Some of those things, man. The villains, dude, was best sell on that, dude. I know I'm in the minority here, but hey, Stargirl was, man. That twist in season 1 was very good.
All right, folks. Well, let me hear from you now. T's weighed in. I've weighed in. What do you think of this Marvel Phase 4 so far? So far, all right. I know Doctor Strange is coming, and that's supposed to like kind of save everything. I'm a Sam Raimi guy, so I have nothing but confidence that Sam Raimi is going to knock this thing out of the park. But Phase 4, that particular lineup. What do you think about Phase 4 so far? Go ahead, jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts on that. All right, T. Let's move on. This is yeah. I'm gonna talk about that thing right there. Okay. Yeah. That's where we at right now. It's Moon Knight. It's Moon Knight, and yeah, we're gonna talk about Moon Knight right now. Like, I'm not even gonna bring up an article, man. I just want to have a discussion about this thing. I'm just gonna take this down real quick. I'm not even gonna bring up an article. Let's talk about this show so far. What in the hell is this show? I don't understand it. Maybe it's over my head, but I'm not intrigued by it. I'm not entertained by it. I'm just like watching stuff happen. This show does not seem to have an identity. Maybe that's part of the old issue, dissociative identity disorder. This show has no identity. It's just kind of all over the place. And maybe that's what people like. You know, maybe that's what people like. But like so far, like that last episode was just like it was just there, the guy's running around his little insane asylum. He's got voices in his head. I mean, obviously that's part of his condition, but I'm just not intrigued by the narrative that's coming through this thing. It just seems like it doesn't know what it wants to be right now, T. And I know there's 2 more episodes left, but like so far, like I said, I wanted to binge this thing from the very beginning. I thought this is not a series that you can follow each week. This is like a 6 episode movie, and I just rather watch it all at once and just get it out of the way. But every week I keep turning back to give 50 minutes to an hour of my time for this show. T, help me out. Help me explain what's going on with Moon Knight, bro.
Oh, you don't like hungry hippos? You don't
Oh my
like hungry
god, that was
hippos? You don't like
no. I'm not. I played the game when I was a little kid, probably 6 or 7 years old. Probably the last time I played that game, and maybe with my kids when we got a little bit older. Yeah, I'm not a hippo fan, and I don't
you don't
understand
like
what they're doing.
You don't like Arsenio Hall and Coming to America? Hippopotamus. You don't want that?
What was the character on Madagascar? Wasn't that Jada Pinkett or something in
Oh my
Madagascar? The big
God,
hippo
man.
there too.
I forgot that's how she made her money. God dang.
Yeah. But yeah, we got hippopotamuses showing up now, and help me out, T. Like, what is your opinion on the Moon Knight series overall? What's going on with this show? Let me ask you a question: are you enjoying this show?
I got it. I'm sorry. I haven't done this in a while.
Here we go. The gloves are coming off. All right, let's go. I've been waiting on this.
This show's awful. Awful. Well, this is something that somebody said, "Hey, man, just put that out, see what happens." Dude. This is not. What did I tell you from the first time? It's so hard to follow, man, and you're saying it too now. It's so hard to follow, so hard to enjoy. I'm not enjoying this show. There's nothing fun about the show. There's
Nothing.
nothing creative. This is a creative nightmare. I don't understand the plot of the show. I don't purpose of it. It really feels like a mind screw. Like it feels like that movie. Remember that movie Identity that
Yeah.
came out with John Cusack?
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
I feel like this is a Kaiser Sosa moment. You know what I'm saying? But I worked in Usual Suspects. This is not a. This is not a. This is not good. I watched the movies movie, excuse me. I watched the episodes over and over last night to prepare myself for this segment, and I'm thinking, did I miss anything, man? I'm thinking, no, it's very, very. There's stuff that happens in here. You're like, well, what happened there? What happened? What's going on? It's
Yeah.
hard not to be confused. I, as the audience member, don't need to be confused. The character can be confused, but I don't need to be confused. I
Right.
need to know what's happening before the character needs to be happening in this situation. And then you come out with this dumb ass freaking hippo. I don't know why, man. I mean, and of course the hippo is big and like, come on, dude. Like it just like of all the creatures in the Nile and all the other stuff, it's not. I told you it wasn't the first place. Just get down. The 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 characters, the surrounding characters don't fit the purpose of it. This is a Gods of Egypt kind of thing, man. You know,
Yeah.
this is terrible, man, to me. And then we're not even talking about the character itself is the character itself is stupid, man. If I was supposed to be sold on this character, I am not. I'm like, this is a dumb guy. What are we doing here?
Look,
Are you
man.
is this is
Like that's the thing about this. Like, and this is no discredit to Oscar Isaac. I think he's doing a good job trying to portray whatever it is that they're asking him to do, and I think he's doing a good job. He's, like the one thing I do like about the show is that his character feels believable. When he's jumping in and out of these different identities, he's doing a really good acting job. No, I'm just talking about the acting job that he's doing. I mean, it's like, okay, I believe that he's this character, whether it's Mark Spector or Stephen Grant or whatever. I believe that he's the character. So I'm fine with that. He's doing a decent enough job acting. But there's nothing to this story. Like, his wife, this other woman, I don't care. I absolutely do not care. And every time she's on the screen, I'm just like, get to something else. This isn't working. All of the machinations about the gods and all of the different things that he's dealing with there, to me, that's not working. So I have like no I have no connection to this. I don't even know how this connects to the Marvel Cinematic Universe overall, other than Moon Knight is a Marvel character. I don't know how this connects, because have they shown us any connections to the MCU that no. So
who's his who's his who's his who's his superhero antagonist?
it's
Who
Ethan Hawke's character, right? Like that's
has
the
he shown?
antagonist.
Has he shown
Was
it
it
in a
Arthur or
movie?
something like that? I don't know.
Did I
To me,
blink and miss him being an actual
that's what I'm
like?
saying. This is a blink and you'll miss it kind of stuff, because it's like, okay, you're not keeping me engaged long enough to follow this story. You're just showing me like scene, sequence, dream, weird stuff, and it's like, okay, all right, I'm trying to follow along. I'm trying to see where your story is going, and maybe in episodes 5 and 6 it'll come to some kind of righteous conclusion where you can say, okay, I see it now. But it's been 4 episodes. It's been 50 minutes per episode, and I mean, I'm sorry, man. Like, I know that there's little plot things that they're doing throughout the story, but ultimately none of this stuff is working. The writing in the story is extremely shaky. They'll start you on a good idea, but they won't like kind of conclude it, right? And they just kind of push right past it.
Like Loki. It feels like Loki at the end
It
there when
feels
they
like it feels a lot like Loki, exactly. And
like
Loki
Loki.
had good ideas as well, but at the same time, like Loki didn't, like at least it had a character that all right, I know how you connect to the MCU, and now I can see maybe some other connections. They were connecting it back to the MCU a lot because it's Loki, and Loki's been around. So it's like, okay, who he is, same thing with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Even though as bad as that series was, they were still able to find those little connections back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't know how this character connects, and I just don't care. To me, this feels like a show, like if this was on some other network and it had nothing to do with Marvel, I wouldn't watch. I would be like, whatever, and I would just keep changing the channel and find something else to do, because this show doesn't connect. And to me, if you can't find that connection, and if they don't make that connection like extremely important, then I see this whole thing as a waste of time.
I mean, it could be considered a waste of time. I agree with you. Look, I'm glad that I'm my age and I get to live long enough to see this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so am I.
Don't don't misinterpret our passion something that it isn't. My expectation, I think because I'm kind of spoiled by what I'm paying for a monthly subscription, I expect to see stuff that is. I have an expectation as
Right.
a someone who believes in their product, and I don't think this one is. You're going to have a few eggs that aren't the same thing, but I think Marvin has shown that they know how to make the right food. They're a good chef. Just make the right food, man. I think
Man.
this one just doesn't. This doesn't have the appetite for being anything, man. That's why you. That's why you and I think it's a nothing burger, man. Nothing burger has no
You
cheese in no
giving
nothing, dude.
you giving Marvel a lot of credit. I'm
Look,
telling you,
look.
man. House of Cards, bruh. Feige is building this thing on Russo's, James Gunn, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett. That's who
What's
his.
wrong with
That's
that?
there's
What's wrong
nothing
with
wrong
that?
with that. But when you get away from that, then you see this is what you got. You get this stuff, and like even a guy as good an actor as Oscar Isaac is, he really can't save it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, folks, I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm not gonna get too deep with Moon Knight. We got other stuff to discuss. Let me know what you think. Go ahead, jump down. Are you enjoying this series? Like seriously, are you enjoying this? Are you having a good time with the Moon Knight series thus far? Go ahead, jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. All right, T. We got another topic coming up. This one I really wanted to discuss. I saw this actually on another I think either another article or another board, um, and it's talking about DC villains and specifically about Batman villains. So I'm gonna bring this up real quick, and it's just a picture, but I want to hear your ideas about what do you think about the Batman villain that we should get coming up in the Matt Reeves Batman series, right? There's a lot of villains that you can look at right here. We got Two-Face over there. There's Ra's al Ghul. There's the Catwoman. There's Riddler. You got Harley Quinn. There's Joker, of course, Bane, Penguin. We just saw Penguin, Poison Ivy. You got Mr. Freeze. You got a lot of different villains that you could easily just jump into and say, all right, man, these guys, this is going to be our next phase. This is going to be my next big villain. Matt Reeves has set up a particular type of world. What do you think he should do in terms of the next Batman villain? I'm hearing a lot of folks talking about Quarter Owls, as being a possible villain. I'm hearing people saying, hey, let's go to Mr. Freeze or something along those lines. They're trying to keep it grounded, right? They're trying to keep it somewhat in this kind of realistic Batman world, not going too far with, like kind of fantasy characters. So, obviously the Joker would fit in with that. You maybe could bring Bane back or Ra's al Ghul. They've already done the Riddler. Of course, Catwoman's been in there. So what do you think in terms of Batman's coterie of supervillains, like the Peacemaker had alluded to? Who would be the
The two
best
villains.
one?
I would do two villains. I would
Okay.
do Court of Owls, and I would do
Who
because
else?
Harvey
Oh,
Dent
Two-Face.
is
Okay.
better. Because remember, Harvey Dent's a procedural kind of guy. Prosecute the other villains. I want to see him prosecute these. He's the top DA. I want to see him go in and take on cases and actually be in court and take them on. I like it. You know what I mean? That I want to see. I want to see. If you're not going to do that, make Arkham the villain. Make Arkham be the so we can see every ongoings of Arkham. So we can see these guys.
Well, we're going to
That's
get the
what
Arkham series, right? We're going to get an Arkham series. We're going to get that whole series about Arkham. So
will
that's
build
going
it
to
up.
be in there.
Tie it in. Tie it in. It'd be
Oh, I'm pretty
great.
sure it will be tied in. I'm actually expecting this the Joker from this Batman Barry Keegan's Joker. I'm actually expecting him to feature in this show. They're probably going to weave him in somewhere or another. I don't think they'll go directly to the Joker as the next villain. That's too obvious. Like that's exactly what Chris Nolan
An
did.
interview with a vampire. If they
Uh-huh.
did this like interview with a vampire, but with villains, it'd be great. I would love to see a 8 to 10 episode. Each episode is a villain,
Mm-hmm.
right? Different villain. I'm interviewing. I'm trying to see exactly why they work, what they're doing, what is their gripe. Guys talk to each other. I want to see what the day-to-day operations. They can't be in a cell 24/7, right? Just it just doesn't seem practical. But I want to
Sure.
see
Sure.
what happens when these guys talk to each other and they figure
That's
out maybe
Arkham. I think that's Arkham. What do you think about the film sequel. Batman, Matt Reeves. He's not gonna, his sequel to this. Who will be the villain in that? You said you would do Two
I think
Face.
Joker. I think Joker will be the one. Will be in the film. But going back to the television series,
Okay.
I want to see. I want to see the ins and outs of. Hey man, how did Harvey Dent get his name? Hey, Dent is perfect for Dent's cleanup at this point for all the corruption for him to come. It's just set up. Hey, Dent's coming back. I know it kind of feels like Nolan do, but so what? You know what I mean? How many Batman movies we have? Same thing. We talk about dang pearls and all that stuff, or like do something. And I think the Court of Owls is great. You know what I mean? It's this shadowy thing that's been running, Gotham for years. Like
Okay.
I think that's great. I think for the movie, who that's gonna be, dude. That's gonna be Joker, dude. Stop playing around.
I don't know if he's gonna go there, and I don't know if he's gonna be that obvious. Like I hope he's not that obvious because that
With
would be
this
disappointing.
moneymaker, with this cash cow they just invented, they just made a guy that's Twilight, that's a Twilight guy. He made over. He's gonna probably make $1 billion. No, probably
Well,
like
it's
close to
750 right now worldwide. It's a little over
750,
750,
right?
right?
It's hit a little snag, but they're gonna, what I mean? They're gonna be solid, dude. They're gonna be solid. If they sold that dude, and he really didn't sell him, dude. He only had one Batman movie moment in the movie, dude. The
It
villains.
was a detective story. Remember, that's what we was talking about from the beginning. It was a detective story with him and Jim Gordon on a case, and it was just a detective kind of procedural as he was going through. They added some like actions, scenes in there, but like he was barely Bruce Wayne. Like everybody's talking about, he's this emo Batman. It's like
I told you I
Bruce
liked it. I
Wayne
liked
was
it.
I thought his character was interesting, and now you get to see him develop over the course of the next film. I think who his villain is going to be very, very important, because that's going to help shape the character in the second film. Obviously, we know whatever the hero is going up against in terms of a villain, that actually molds his type of persona. Like he's one thing at the beginning of the film, and then after having to deal with this villain, he comes out the other side a different person. And I think
But
that
he's
that's going to
gotta
be
be.
important.
He can't be in that same suit. That suit was like an upgraded version of Adam West suit. You know what I mean? He's got to be like he's got to
It's a
do
little bit better than an
that.
Adam West suit. Adam West
I
was just
mean,
wearing
come on, man.
tights.
He's got to do. He's got to be better. He's got to be a better. He's got to be a better overall character than what he is. I think that's the most important thing. I think that I thought they were doing the Gotham PD, right? Gotham PD
No,
was
they
going to
scrapped
be
that. They scrapped that for Arkham.
what?
Yeah, they doing Arkham instead of Gotham PD. They already did a Gotham PD. Remember, they already had a Gotham show with the police department. They already did that, so they was like, yeah, let's just go ahead and just go straight to Arkham, and let's just get into the criminals and the villains, which is what we like
I
anyway.
thought Gordon was going to be in it. I thought what's his name? Jeffrey Wright was going to. I'm sorry, guys. I dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, that's what they were saying. They got rid of the Gotham PD show, and maybe he's still going to be a part of it, right? He could still be in Arkham. It's just maybe he's not the lead character. We're gonna
Maybe will be in Arkham too. So we'll see.
who?
Moon Knight, Stephen.
All right. On that note,
That's where he needs to go. That's where he needs to go to get to be
look, the
interested.
Moon Knight needs a lot of help right now. They need a whole lot of help. But folks, let me know what you think about Batman villain coming for the next movie. Let's talk about the movie. Just who do you think will be the Batman villain in the next film that Matt Reeves does? Go ahead, let me know in the comments. And T, all right, here's a topic you wanted to discuss, so let's get straight to it. And that's about, let's see, the kids. And this is a little icon of the bad guys, right? And you were saying to me, yeah, D, it looks like the kids' movies are back, and you were enjoying, seeing how that was playing out. And on this particular article, oh, it didn't come up when I clicked it. Let's get all into that. All right. So it says here, Bad Guys proves family picks still work with a $24 million debut, and so on and so forth. So it's just really quick. It's talking about how the Bad Guys, which is notching a solid debut of $24 million and a great cinema score. And it also says in Paramount's third weekend of Sonic the Hedgehog, it's coming in strong with the second place of $15.2 million. I'm going to get to the box office breakdown later on today, but Yeah, both of these films, The Bad Guys and Sonic, they brought a lot of families back to the theaters, right? And we've always been, like the families are the heart of the movie industry. Anytime a good family film comes out, you can bring mom and dad and sister and brother, and then, hey, man, go ahead and get your friends. We'll take them to the movies, and let's get the little cousins to come along too, and maybe their aunt and uncle, and you got this big party of 10 just dropping into a movie theater, and everybody's buying drinks and sodas and pizza and all this other stuff. And that's the movie industry. When that comes back, when the movies come back in that fashion, it's all the way back. So you wanted to have a conversation about this. Family films are back in the theaters. Tell me, what do you think?
Uh, I think so. Well, look, we've had 2 years of basically everybody just relaxing. You can damn near say almost three, right?
Yeah.
2020, 2021, now 2023. You know, um, I gotta have some place for my kids, man. My kids have been suffering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what people are saying right now. My kids are grown, saying like, look, like you gotta have something for these kids to do, man. Remember, they haven't been out in parks. They haven't been
Right.
out in,
Yeah.
haven't been involved in activities. It's been quiet. You know what I mean? People can't afford everything, but hey, man, I can spare some change for my kids, man.
Right.
And I think I think that it doesn't even have quality at this point. They just look in and say, hey, man, can somebody babysit kids, like they're tired of me, I'm tired of them, like I just need an outlet, right? I need an outlet for
Sure.
distraction. And I think that's what's great about a family movie. You know what I mean? You go and you get to enjoy it. It's different, different take on just the everyday things. I mean, because come on, man, kids they have to be hearing about some of the current events that are going around, man. They're like, what?
Sure. Sure.
So what am I going to go? Where am I going to go and see feel safe and make me forget about what's going on? I think films do that, man. Now, I like kids movies in when kids are in kids movies. I like that. Or you got some kind of character. We grew up in Looney Tunes, man, all that other stuff. Maybe that's why we got whatever. But listen, I like to see kids movies get their chance because they're important, man. I loved going to go see kids movies. My kids were small, man.
Oh
They were
yeah,
like,
man! I was taking them to see the Shreks. We used to go to see
right,
Shrek. Every
great,
Shrek movie that came out, we loved it,
great,
man.
dude.
Then the Madagascars and all of that stuff like that, man, loved it. Yeah, kids
Right,
movies are
right.
huge, man.
Right.
That
Because because kids are what? Kids are hope actual, right? It's
yeah,
an experiment.
yeah,
With any kid, like, man, jeez, man, I just hope they're gonna enjoy their life, man, and they remember these moments, man. Just seeing how what an impact of a good movie can be. It's great. It's great to see that. It's great to see how um kids react to that stuff. They remember. My kids remember that, and they're grown, man. I got kids 20 and 22, and they remember seeing that kind of stuff, and
yeah.
it's awesome. It's awesome to see it. Now, Derek knows how I feel about kids being in regular movies. I cannot stand that. I just think that's a terrible trope. But it's nice to see the bad guys deliver on what the critics actually said it would deliver on. They said, "Hey, man, this is a good movie for kids." And it's nice to see that because parents don't want. I mean, I can't take my kids to see violence every week. I can't take them to see
Sure.
violence. Period. I can't. Man, I'm not. I'm not. They don't. I think the movie industry is completely lost, dude. They don't know what to do. This whole 2 year break hiatus, they don't know because they've got a different fan. They don't have the same fan they had before. They've
Right.
got a fan that is saying, "Man, I've been patient, man. I've been waiting. You better deliver, dude. And if you don't deliver, dude, why should I spend my money on this, dude? Why?"
I've been saying the
Because,
same thing for years, absolutely. And
right,
that's what the thing about it is, like you said, it's a family entertainment where you could bring everybody. Like, there's some kids' movies that's like, all right, man, as a parent, I'll take my kids to see it. But it's like, you know what, this is for them. I'm just going to be sitting here on my phone, because there's nothing for me. But a lot of these movies, like The Bad Guys, I've heard like it's kind of like it's got a little bit of Reservoir Dogs and Ocean's 11 in it. And I'm like, what? I said, okay, so it's not necessarily just for the kids because parents
Like
can go
Shrek.
and watch it and they can see, oh, okay, this is a little something for me. Little jokes for the parents has always been a very good thing to do. When you go to see a Shrek, you want to see, and you got Eddie Murphy playing the donkey and he's giving you all of these little throwback lines that you can relate to as an adult. It's like, oh yeah, this is for me. I'm laughing because
Hey,
I'm enjoying
Madagascar,
myself.
Madagascar, sugar honey iced tea. Come on.
Yeah, yeah,
Some people don't get
exactly.
that. Oh, sugar honey iced tea. Hey,
But
look,
but that's
D.
but that's what I'm saying. You get it. You get it because you have to do stuff not just for the kids because it is a kids film, but you really still have to give little nuggets. Here you go, parents. Here you go. Here you go. A little something for you guys too, because we know you're the ones bringing the kids. You just didn't take your kids to the theater, set them in the seats, and
Political
walk out.
correctness either. Just tone. Look, hey, I got just a little bit of advice for Hollywood. Cut down this political correctness. Cut it down. Just
Yeah,
stop.
yeah.
Right? It's my choice to participate in what you have or not. Like I'm not some victim. You know what I mean? It is my choice. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
My choice. Consumer, it's my choice to participate or not participate. But just relax a little bit. Relax a little bit. Let's enjoy each other. Let's take an hour and a half to 2 hours out of my go and enjoy a movie, get some entertainment, and let me be able to discuss. Hey man, how did you? Hey, did you, Derek? What did you tell me, man? You take your kids to movies, man. You would talk to them, man. Man,
Right.
burger, man. Let's go home and cook some food together, man. Let's look. You need for the kids, man. For the kids' sake, man. It's not even about me. It's about the kids. Have the kids have just a segment, man. Get to just sit down and talk to you. It
Talk
doesn't
to
have
their
to be about
parents, right?
right.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
want to
even
be able to
about
have
you.
conversations with your parents, and a lot
Right,
of times
right.
you can't because Hollywood kind of says, "Well, we're not going to put that in there, and you guys can figure out how to get." But it's like kids see movies and they'll ask questions, and that's an opportunity as us as parents is be like, "All right, hey, let me bring you on in so you can understand what this is."
Right, right. Life is gonna happen.
Right.
Life is gonna happen.
Yes,
It's
sir.
waiting on you. You know what I mean? It's waiting on you. Don't worry. We can have other conversations, but man, take time out and say, hey man, here's something cool. What did you learn in this, man? What did you just dissect? Was there anything valuable in what you saw? If it wasn't, fine. If it was, then hey, let me get your take on it, man. I
Yep.
need to know your opinions as a kid. Kids are consumers by way of parents. Duh.
Big time, big time. All right, folks. What do you think about kids' movies? Are they back? Are you enjoying what like Sonic? I saw Sonic. I thought it was great. Bad Guys appears to be doing pretty good as well. So yeah, we got kids' movies back, and it looks like they're here to stay at least for right now. In family films, they're doing really well. So go ahead, jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. All right. And last but not least, T, we're gonna do a little bit of a different segment. Me and you talked about this and it's gonna be something I'm gonna just close out all of these other little joints, and we're gonna talk about boom, the state of entertainment. All right. So, what do you think right now? Oh, let me get rid of the article too. Let's just talk about the state of entertainment, okay? And I kind of just threw this little thing together. We got different, different little, studios up there. You got Warner Brothers, Amazon, Universal, Netflix. We just got through talking about. You got major properties like Star Wars, DC, Wizarding World, Game of Thrones, so on and so forth. T, we're just talking about it in general, right? This is going to be a new segment we're just going to have every week. We just talk about the state of entertainment, where it's at right now, and what your opinions are. So go ahead and talk to me. Where do you see the state of entertainment at this moment?
I see the state of entertainment like cut it, D,
Okay.
cut.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
fine.
all right. Just a little.
You gonna bring that light in? I can see the light in the shot. Yeah. All right, go ahead, T.
I think the state of entertainment, man, is I think the thing that's important to remember about the state of entertainment, it's 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 in flux, man. It's in humongous flux because they don't know exactly what they want to do when they want to do it. I think they have good intentions, but the best laid intentions don't always happen like you want, right? I think they've had 2 years of board meetings, Zoom meetings, Microsoft Teams meetings to come up with a plan, dude. More content that could have been created than ever. And I understand the constraints of a not having not having to comply with COVID and all those other things, but you still have had content. What is going on here? You mean to tell me you can't come together with something that makes sense for the consumer? Why not? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't
Hmm.
you doing what people want? Right? They
Yeah.
want to see things that make sense. Now you got Nintendo here, you got DC, you got Star Wars, you got all these studios here, and you got Sony, you got Amazon Studios, but they don't know what direction they can't, because they're all separate entities that aren't working cohesively. You've got this thing that's messed up. For the studios, they're terrified of people saying, you know what, I don't need to go with your partnership with your theaters anymore, dude. The theaters and their partnership, that's damn near over, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why do I want to go to the theater, be in there? Like, you scare people with, with this hoax. But it's just it's
I think let me chime in real quick because some you said was kind of interesting is about the studios, like every studio right now, it seems like, except for the exception of Sony, I think every studio has some kind of a streaming service, right? Universal has Peacock. You have Paramount Plus, you have Disney Plus, you have HBO Max, which is Warner Brothers now, and I think out of the big five, and then of course Amazon, Sony's the only one that doesn't have one. And I think now you're starting to see entertainment kind of shift where everybody wants to have, like, hey, we need to be able to drop this on, before it used to be able to have to make a film and then, drop it on video, maybe 6 months later and a year later down the line. It's changed over the years. Now it's like, okay, we need to be able to drop a movie and then drop it to our streaming service so we can boost our streaming service up. Okay. But the problem, what you're seeing right now, is we have a lot of competition in the marketplace. Okay. This has probably been the most competitive that entertainment has ever been in the marketplace, where there's literally, like, there's so much to watch. There's so much to watch. It's even worse than what it was with cable. You know what I'm saying? Like
oh
cable,
yeah.
it's way worse because cable used to have 40 channels and you had to. Yeah, it's getting back to that, but worse, because now it's like you still got cable where you got a lot of entertainment options, but now you have streaming services, and it's like, okay, which one of these do I get? Because I like a little of everything. I like some of the Marvel stuff. I like some of the DC stuff. Okay, maybe I get HBO Max and Disney Plus. Okay, I'm set. All right. But then you start looking like, but I like that little Amazon show, The Boys. I like Invincible. Okay, I got to go and get that. And then you start looking, oh, wow, look at over here at Netflix. They got a couple of shows that I like. So you start just adding up. Next thing you know, you paying over $100 for streaming, and for, you got to have your internet connection. So you got to pay for that. And now you got a cable because every once in a while, you want to watch sports or something like that. It's just like, wow, like I'm getting overwhelmed with this, proliferation of entertainment options. And I think they're starting to see the results of that because Disney dropped in their stock this week. Netflix is just tanking right now hugely. So I think you're going to start to see, entertainment's going to have to start shifting. And there's stuff that you mentioned about the whole woke ideology and their agendas, and we're going to get to that. I'm going to get to that in a second. But I think just right now, like, it's so much out there that something's got to give. One of these guys are going to have to drop a streaming service. One of these guys is going to go down. Maybe it's Netflix. Netflix might be the first one to, take a hit.
um I mean, they're all going to take a hit they're all going to take a hit at once, like you said. It's a good point. I just think that you just brought up such a good point with the cable wars, man. But the difference with the cable wars is, hey, make sure you call your local provider, man, and ask for us in your area. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You wouldn't
Yeah.
get that. You wouldn't have access to it. I think that they just cannot. I think the model, they push the future. They cram the future, cram something that was about maybe 15, 20, 25 years away, and crammed it up front. You know what I mean? You push the future. You push the future forward, not forward, but you brought it back
Yeah.
to like, what did they say back in the day? Hey man, hey, in 1997, something was supposed to happen on the Terminator. You're supposed to have the future here and all these
Right,
robots
right, right,
coming and
right.
all of that. And they pushed it back. You kind of kicked the can down the road, and we finally met it in 2020. And what it's done is like Netflix wasn't supposed to boom like it was until that you had people stay at home. So they said, man, let me
Yeah,
watch this. Oh man, let me watch. I gotta be entertained, man. Let me throw on something, man, while I'm doing my reports, man, and thinking about how
yeah,
am I going to be man, what am I gonna do? I've got multiple ways of streaming things, right? I think I think you're living in a state of entertainment where you've got a couple things happen. One in particular is you've got people who are actualizing what they intended to do. When uh, you've got people who say, "Hey, man, that was a thought. I made it happen. Boom. I don't have to wait on a big studio to do it. I can put it right here on YouTube. I can put it on Twitch. I can put it on other avenues. I don't have to wait
yes,
for DC. Uh, you know, uh, I don't have to wait for DC. I don't have to wait for Warner Brothers. I don't have to wait for Marvel or Netflix to entertain me. I can entertain myself. And the thing about
yeah.
reality shows are lightning in a bottle, but the 15 minutes of fame has been reduced into 5 minutes. 5 minutes of fame. Really, it's two and a half because people's attention span cannot go longer than that. I got I got a friends that cannot look at a clip that is longer than 3 minutes because they're like, man, my attention span, man, I can't do it.
Isn't that
Why?
crazy? It's crazy.
And you notice that? You know what I thought? You notice that if you look at the clips that are online, they're
Yeah,
usually like 2 to 3 minutes.
yeah,
They're usually
yeah.
like especially for
Less,
news.
less than that, less than that.
Yeah,
Sometimes a minute and a
30
half.
seconds. Like, why did you waste the time doing that? And
Yeah,
I think that because and there are endless amounts of those things, so you could be entertained and caught into quagmires like that. I don't think that those studios have that. They don't have that. They've had a 50 to 60 year head start on things, and things are just caught up on them, man. If I don't know anybody that's going to the theater besides you and I. You know what I mean?
oh, I know people that go
Missing,
to theaters. I know a lot of folks that go to theaters.
yeah, but they're
You
not. They're
know what?
not. No, nobody's checking for it, D.
You made a good point though, right there, with the limited attention span of today's consumer and how media has tried to, or entertainment has tried to, like, adjust to that. Like, okay, we're gonna do shorter clips and shorter shows. Like, I remember the Disney Plus shows when they was coming out with like the Mandalorian. It's like, we only gonna give you like a half hour, but everybody said, hey man, can we get like a 50-minute episode, 60-minute episode? That's what we want. And there's like, I don't think that they fully understand what fans are looking for when it comes to like that. Yeah, people want short clips, but remember there was that, what, Quibi or whatever that was, or Chibi, I can't remember. Quibi, that didn't do well. That didn't do well, and that was like, what,
It didn't
like
do
little
well. It
episodes
didn't do
of
well on a platform that nobody knew about. It didn't
people
do
knew
well
about it,
on
man.
it didn't do well in a. Remember when that thing came out? It came out. It came out during the pandemic or like
Yeah, it was
after.
like right around the time the pandemic
Right.
started. Yeah,
But like people were looking to be like they wanted consistent. Remember, people are doing 8 hour, 10 hour streams, dude, lives
yeah.
and all that. Like you wanted to be entertained. Not, oh, let me see this. Let me get oh man, this is gonna get me hyped and then it's gonna go away. No. And then they're taking the problem with what you've got listed here is that after that, they don't have anything. What's coming after it? Back to back to back. There's no consistency.
Well,
There's
but
nothing.
but it's the idea, like I said, of trying to fit what the people say they want, what you see as far as, like, okay, I want to fit what I see out there in the marketplace. Everybody's doing like, 1-2 minute clips, and they're just watching shorts or whatever. Okay, let's come up with a show or a platform that'll just do that. And then that platform absolutely tanks because nobody, like you said, either doesn't know about it, or if they checked it out and liked it, that's all right. And then they just moved on. Because word of mouth, if it was good, word of mouth would have carried it. I think entertainment right now, you're still seeing a big problem with their ability to keep people's attention, period. It's not the short stuff. That's why people do the short clips, because okay, this will keep my attention for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Okay, I'm out. But you should, back in the day, we used to watch episodes after episode after episodes of the A-Team, for instance. That was one of my favorite shows coming up. That thing
Yeah,
kept
miraculous.
it kept my attention. Entertainment doesn't seem to be able to keep people's attention. People are like constantly channel surfing, looking for something else to watch. This isn't working. What else do we got? This isn't
Well, I
working.
didn't
What
have
else do
a
we got?
phone. I didn't have a phone that
And now you
could
got a
do
phone, right? Right, exactly. You got phones, you got tablets. I got entertainment right here in my pocket. Like I could just grab a phone and be like, "All right, cool. I got my
tablets
phone.
anymore.
Bop, 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 bop. Let me check out and see what's coming up." That's what I got, and it's easy and it's fast and it's at my fingertips. And entertainment doesn't seem to be to react to that. It's like, hey, we got to give some people something that'll actually keep their attention longer than 2 or 3 minutes. They always say, like in Hollywood, like you got to grab your audience for a movie in the first 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes. You got really 5 minutes in some cases to really grab your audience and hook them. They call it the hook. The inciting incident has to hook them in and get them excited. Okay, now what? And we're seeing more and more. Like I just got through talking about with Moon Knight. It's like, I'm not entertained. You're not keeping my interest. I'm ready to turn this off and watch something else. I'm ready to move on. And it's not the people, because the people are always going to respond to what works. But it's just not working. You're not giving us what works. And because you're not giving us what works, you're not giving us entertainment on a high level. People are just kind of all over the place. You have a million streaming services. You have a million different types of things because everybody's got different tastes. But it's every once in a while a Marvel Cinematic Universe comes along and they say, hey, we got your end game here. Don't worry about it. We're going to take care of you. And they build up something that works, and that keeps everybody's attention.
Well, really, what you're really talking about here, the root of this is time management. Um, do you appreciate my time management? You know what I
Right.
mean? Because I'm having to invest money and time in you. And if
Lots of
you aren't
money at
producing
time.
what I need and you're not listening to me as a customer and the consumer, I'm not going to participate. I will let you fall to the wayside and you'll be another thing, a random memory that's going to go on YouTube. So I don't care.
Yeah.
You don't know there are tons and tons of shows that get canceled all the time.
All the
These
time.
studios are going to get canceled
No,
with
yeah.
they're going to cancel each other out because they don't have the consistency that people are paying for. When I'm paying for a monthly service, I expect consistency. I don't expect breaks and lags. Wait a minute, you're getting money familiar. How do you expect me to keep signing up if you're not giving me consistency?
Right.
I got choice. When I got choice, they're gonna do this. It's not like you are in the days of when Android and Apple, and you used to have a HP cell phone, you had a Palm Trio cell phone, you had all these different choices.
Blackberry.
It
Yeah.
all, right, and it all came down to what? These two now. I
Yeah.
mean, there are still some others that are still out there, but they don't compare to what?
Apple
Samsung
and Apple.
and
Yeah.
I and Apple,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
You got
Yep.
way too many choices. So it is once there's blood in the water, that means acquisitions will be made. And I think they're going to make acquisitions and say, hey, look, we need to Googleize this thing and make it be one center, one hub where you
One
Google
umbrella.
all this. And
Yeah.
Roku sort of does that. Roku does that, and Apple TV does that too. But you can see that's the model where it's going. Hey, listen, guys, you pay our service for this, but then it'll just be a cable thing again. Because I'm paying $8 over here, $15 over here, $12 over here, all these different things, and I'm not, and I still got commercials, and I want to know why I need to get, and where is your consistency? Amazon will have Amazon. They have a really good show with Josh Brolin that's on.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I would rather binge watch that week. Dude,
Say
it's a
that again.
stream.
You speak and say that
I'm
invite
sorry.
again.
Amazon has a streaming show. I forgot the name of it, man. But it's pretty interesting. It's about a ranch in Wyoming,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the episodes are being released weekly on Amazon Prime when it should just be just seamless, man. Just let me binge, dude. The binge model works, man. But once you binge, have another thing that comes out and another thing. Flood the market with good product, and the fans will come, man.
Here's the
And
problem.
then
What
you
I
can
think. Here's the
tailor it.
problem. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Here's the problem I see with the binge model and why I think it's starting to fail. Okay. So you binge watch a show, right? And then your word of mouth, you're telling your friends, oh man, you got to binge watch this show. You got to watch this show on Netflix or whatever. It's great. And everybody like, all right, man, I'll get to it. And maybe I might not have the entire weekend to binge watch shows. Maybe I can watch one episode or two episodes. Okay, so I watch my two episodes. And then next thing you know, you come back to me. All right, hey, D, did you see the show? And I'm like, yeah, man, I saw like two episodes. I'm not really into it. Oh, no, this is like what you was telling me about Raised by Wolves. Oh, yeah, you got to wait till you get to like episode 4 or 5 and you going to love it. And like, okay. Yeah, okay. But see, then it's like, all right, I got to get to, so I got to find time to get to episodes 4 and 5. And what ends up happening is, between, you know, the word of mouth that you want to kind of develop, it develops slowly over time because people are like, oh man, that thing's already 8 episodes in. I don't have time to watch that. Maybe I'll binge watch it one day. And that's what happens.
Lazy.
But it's lazy, but you got people that have busy lives. You have a busy life. I have a busy life. We all have busy lives, and you don't have time to just jump in and watch everything. You know, it's like, I got, 2 hours today. What's available? And sometimes it's like, okay, I can watch some YouTube. I can watch a couple of episodes of a TV show, and then that's it. So the binge watch deal is like, you got to watch it all at once. You start to lose a little bit of that word of mouth. Whereas when you drop it weekly, it's like, okay, I got an hour. I can watch an episode of The Peacemaker. I can do that. And then I can keep up with all my other folks that's also watching The Peacemaker, and that hype starts to build. So then by the time you get to episodes 3 and 4, when the hype is at an all-time high, people are just figuring this out. Like, oh, there's a show called The Peacemaker. Everybody's talking about it. Oh, where they at? Oh, okay. I can catch up with these guys. Okay, I can catch up and start getting into the conversation because it's only a couple of I'm only a couple of episodes in. It's not all the way done, and now I'm trying to figure out, okay, when am I gonna have a chance to watch this? I don't have a chance to watch this, and then it's gonna be probably 8 months before I even get a chance to see all 8 episodes. So yeah, you know what, and you lose that. And that's what happens with Netflix, with HBO Max, with Disney Plus. They're constantly staying in the public eye. We're talking about Moon Knight every week. You know what I'm saying? On this show, we're talking about Moon Knight every week. Because why? Because they drop an episode a week and we can talk about it. But if you dropped Moon Knight all at once, we would have talked about it. It would have been out of the conversation and we would be already on to the next thing. So that's the problem that you have with that binge model. It does work.
People are cutting in. I think you're cutting into what was the norm for the last 40 years. HBO had this product, network TV had this product,
Yeah.
this water cooler talk. You're not going to have that same model again, because unless people have to come and get together and say, hey man, and you're talking about social distancing still happening and all these other things that are happening. You don't have people in a position to gather each other to actually converse about these things, especially when they've got distractions. They say, man, gas is that high.
Yeah.
I would look super irresponsible with all these streaming service, man, and I can't even put gas in my car. I can't put
agree.
food on my plate, man, but I'm watching these things. Do I get a cheeseburger or do I get Netflix? Like they have to come to some compromise with the consumers. The consumer has given you everything they have within the last 2 years, man. Spent money they shouldn't have.
Yep.
What are you gonna do for me? The least you can do is entertain me and be consistent.
And they
That's
want
all.
to just keep doling out the same kind of like, okay, here we go, the same little nothing burgers we've been giving you all through the pandemic when we were stuck in our house and couldn't do nothing. And what they're doing even worse than that, I think, is now the program is starting to go what we call woke. So I was going to address that. The new way of entertaining people is to really hyper emphasize like all of these issues that are happening in society. Like we're gonna start making social commentary on societal issues, and I think that is probably, if not the biggest mistake. Like, you can always layer that stuff in, but when you make that the focal point of your entertainment, you are losing the plot at that point, because you have started to think that you are now the arbiter or the grand poobah of social commentary, and we should be the ones kind of discussing what's going on in society. There's nothing wrong with having like a little bit of sprinkled in here and there, stuff that's happening in the world, but you really have to start telling good stories. And what happens is people start telling like social commentary and they forget the story. They forget to entertain you. They're trying to preach to you. And that's why people are tuning this stuff out, because you're preaching. You're sounding preachy. Hey, look, I don't need you telling me how to live my life, okay? I have a parent, I have a wife, I have a father, a son, a mother, whoever, a wife. I have people in my life that I, respond to on that level. I don't need my entertainment to do that. I got people in my life. I got friends that I talk to, and we come together and we discuss what's important to us, what's not important to us, what's important to our communities. That's what we discuss. When you guys kind of step in there as these big Hollywood like super types and you're like looking down on us and saying this is what you should be doing with your life, you just come off as like pretentious and irresponsible, because then we see what your lives are like and it's like, okay, you got like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp out there right now, and like, hey man, these people sound like a mess. These people sound like an absolute mess. Why would I ever listen to anything they have to say about anything? Yeah, go ahead and entertain me. Be Captain Jack Sparrow or Mira or whatever, but you are in no position, and that's most people in Hollywood. And that's most people in general. Like, a lot of people have lived lives where it's like, you have no real business telling anybody how to live, what to think, what to do. That is not your job. Your job is actor. Entertain me. That is your job. That is your only job. That's the only job I'm gonna take you seriously on anyway, because everything else I'm just gonna point and laugh and say, this dude is, you gotta be kidding me, bro. I mean, I've read your stories. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, I'll talk to my dad about what you're talking about. I'll talk to my wife. I'll talk to my friends. I'm not talking to an actor about that stuff. Okay, and that's just the bottom line. And I think all of the woke stuff that they're doing when they're going hard with this social commentary and stuff like that, cut that out. You're losing fans because of it. We see Netflix, they did this little thing about cuties or whatever. Oh, we're trying to make a commentary on blah, 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 blah. Hey, you just lost a whole lot of people because of that, okay? You lost a whole lot of people because of that. They're firing actors because actors have certain political opinions. And I think actors should be quiet. But nevertheless, if they're going to say something, let them say it, because you let other actors talk and you don't let these actors talk. These actors can talk. These actors can't talk because they don't fit the right agendas and all that kind of stuff. All of that stuff is for the birds. And if you guys keep doing it, they're just going to fall apart. T, any comments on that?
No, I think you was well said what you said. Look, fine line, fine line. It's a fine line in what you want. I think they need to start really listening to the consumer
Yeah.
and delivering on that.
Yep, I agree. All right, T, that's it with us, man. We finished another episode of Movies with the Homies, episode 11. It was a long one. It's probably our longest episode yet. But I want to thank everybody for hanging in there, watching us. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, there's a little subscribe button down there below. I really hope that you would click that so that you can get all of our new material. T's channel is coming soon. I know we keep talking about it. We working on it on the backside. We're working on T's channel to get him up and going. And there's going to be a lot more of this type of content, the social commentary. We're definitely going to get into community news, what's going on in our city, and also what's going on in the world around us. But yeah, that'll do it. T, any final thoughts?
Just hey, subscribe, like, share. If you feel the need to comment, please comment. We want to hear it. We read it.
Yeah.
It's important. Voice matters too. You know what I mean? It's important to hear that stuff. Plus, it's good. It's helpful feedback. We encourage feedback. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.